Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show my Rubik's Cube collection as of mid-2020. First off, I'm sure as you guys have seen by the title, yes, we finally hit 30 subscribers. And the best part is, it only took us 6 months after we hit 20. And the view rates to my channel became so good that I got copyright claimed. So keep it up. So this is my setup where I record and edit all of my stuff. Even where I write my own scripts. Yes, even this part that I'm saying right now was scripted. Because when it comes to stuff like this, you never want it to become an improv, which was a mistake I made in the past. But just by simply writing your scripts can change the outlook of your entire video, which is definitely worth the extra 15 minutes of typing. And over here is all of my puzzles, which they seem to be scrambled. Alright, well I guess I'm just gonna have to solve them all. So this video is gonna be a quick overview of my entire cube collection, which consists of around 30 puzzles. Hey, in which case is perfect for my 30 subscriber milestone. Some of these puzzles are discontinued, so I'm not sure if I'm able to say where you can get all of them, and even if you can still get them. But if you're interested in a certain puzzle, I'll leave you where you can get a similar puzzle in the description. And if you're seeing this for the first time, hi, my name is Seth, and I upload cubing content like this and more. In the near future, I'm going to upload a video of me where I unbox a massive order of speed cubes. So if you want to see that, along with even more cubing content in the future, then consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss a video. Okay, so I'm going to break down the puzzles in these following categories. N by N events, since it's where the majority of my cube collection is, the rest of the WCA puzzles, finally the non-WCA puzzles. So starting off with the smallest of my N by N events is my 2x2 collection. So these two are the magnetic GuoGuan XingHens. There's no real difference, they're both magnetic, one's more broken in than the other, and one has a sticker on the red side. This is a discontinued cube, but it's one of my favorites. This is the Cubicle Labs MoHuan ShengShou Chuwen M. The problem with this one is that there are missing stickers, but it's a great cube. I've broken several records doing it. This is one of the cubes that got me really into 2x2, and I wouldn't be where I was today if it wasn't for this cube. So yeah, really great cube. Let's move on to the next one. I'm sure you recognize this from a previous video in the past. This is the Cubicle Custom YJ-MGC 2x2. I think it's a great cube. I talked about how it was very fast, but overall it is a good cube. When I got this cube, I was a little bit sketchy on whether or not I would like the texture of a stickerless 2x2, because this is my first stickerless 2x2. But it turns out that it actually was a great cube, and I'm glad that I got the chance to unbox it. And my last 2x2 is the Valk3 M. I'm sure you know this cube. It is a really nice cube. It's fully magnetic along with the pieces in the middle. I recommend this to people who have a heavier turning style, who actually are a little bit more rougher with their turnings. With that being said, this isn't a cube for everyone. I talked about this in my last video, how the magnets kind of slow it down. But all in all, it is good enough to be my main. So if you don't know what to get, then this is a good deal breaker. Up next is our 3x3 list, starting off with the Rubik's Cube. So this is the one in my last video. This is the one I told you not to get. I'm sure it's pretty obvious why. It's super loud, it's super blocky, it's hard to turn. Yeah, there's not much to say. This is pretty much just a bad cube. I recommend this to people who just want a decoration, honestly. Okay, so this one is a crappy smiley face gas station cube. I literally got this at a gas station. I think it was only like $2 or something. It really isn't that good. Alright, so for number 3, this is my first main speed cube ever. This is the Moyu AoLong V2. I just remember when Lucas broke the world record and it was crazy, and I was just like, I have to get this cube. It has a couple flaws, but overall it really was a great cube. Up next, this is the Valk3 M. Now, this one is a very important speed cube. This cube broke multiple records, as in from 3x3 OH and 3x3. It's an incredible cube. I recommend it to anyone. I still think it's a great cube. I would get it again. So yeah, this is a cube that is hard to forget. And this one is its brother, the Valk3 Mini. I just thought it was a cool cube and I wanted to add it to my collection. People say you can use this cube for OH. I never really liked it as an OH cube, but if you like really small puzzles, then it might work. It's still a good cube, it's just hard to do any kind of speed solving for me on it. And this next one is the Moyu Weilong GTS 2 M. So this is the first cube that I set up myself. But yeah, it was a good cube and it was my main for nearly 1.5 years. Moving on is the Gans SM. It's a great overall cube. I like the customization on it. I started learning color neutrality on this cube, and when it comes to stuff like that, it's very important that you pick a cube that's able to help you pick out those kinds of colors, but this cube definitely helped with it. This next cube was in the previous video. This is the Yuxin Little Magic. I talked a little bit about this. It's smaller than some of my other speed cubes, but it still performs really well. I never really was a big fan of it, but it was cool to add to the collection. Next is the Cubicle Custom MF3OS3 M. So this is my 3x3 one-handed main. I think sometimes it gets a little bit loose when you solve it one-handed, and it actually comes pretty handy at some times. No pun intended. But apparently they're making a new cube called the RS3, so maybe I'll review that. Alright, so this one is the Moyu Weilong WRM. I unboxed this in a previous video as well. I tried setting it up in another video too, but I never really liked this cube. It's not for me. It seems too hard to get the right tensions that are just for you, and especially because I'm more experienced, I know that people who are just starting out are gonna have trouble with this cube. Also, a lot of people talk about how there's like this hint of unusual smoothness. I never really see that. I just feel like it's a regular cube. It's not that it's bad, it's just it's not that great. And the next one is, I'm sure is one you are familiar with. This is the Gans 356 Air 2020. Not much to say, it's an all-rounder. I like the loose but also light and airy feel to it. And I've had this cube for about a month, but it still stays nice and crisp. Okay, so now we are moving on to my 4x4s. So this is my first main. This is the Moyu WeiSu. This is the second 4x4 I ever bought. It's still not that bad actually. It's able to keep its consistency in the middle and outer layers, and I think that's what made it so special. Obviously there's better 4x4s this day, but back in the day this was the thing. I wouldn't really recommend it because it's outdated, but it's not a bad cube. Alright, next up is the Moyu AoSu. So this is my second main. This broke plenty of records as well. I didn't really have this for long until I got my next cube, but while I did have this, I noticed it was a huge step up from its brother the WeiSu, and it was my main ever since. So yeah, not too much to say about this one, but it is a good cube. Next up is the Moyu AoSu GTS M. This is when I started to get sub 1 minutes. I just loved how it was able to be controllable along with magnets, and it really did turn out to be a good cube. It was very underrated at the time. Sadly, ink got all over the cube and it became non-WCA. This is the Cubicle Labs QiYi WuHua M, and I'm sure this is a big one. It's been my main ever since, despite how old it is. It really is a great cube. This brought a brand new franchise to magnetic, expanding more than just 3x3, and I'm glad that it did. This is the Cubicle Labs Wushuang M. This is another record breaker. It has been my 5x5 main for years now, and it's definitely a great cube. I've been getting consistently sub 1 minute 20s on it. I think it's amazing how you can have such smooth and controllable layers throughout the whole puzzle, despite how big it is. It's sad that it is finally wearing off. It's starting to miss some center caps. I looked everywhere for them. So with this being said, I'm gonna have to update to a new 5x5 main, but it was great while this lasted. Overall, this is a great cube. Up next, this is another only cube. This is my only 6x6. This is the QiYi WuHua V2. It's the only 6x6 I ever owned. I never really competed in 6x6, but when I get the chance, I will. So that wraps it up for my 22 N×N puzzles. Now let's move on to the rest of my WCA puzzles. So this is my Cubicle Labs QiYi MoFang *1 Volt MS. This is probably one of my longest cube names. When this cube came out, it set records, and so I had to get it. And it did get me into *1 for a little bit, but I kind of moved on now. It's just not really my thing. With that being said, it still is a great cube. So these two puzzles are the ShengShou Megaminxes. I wouldn't really call them my main, but it's cool to have to the collection because this is one of my only lasting ShengShou puzzles. Obviously it's not really that great and the sticker quality isn't that great, but it's not the worst. I've felt Megaminxes that felt like it came from a gas station. And the next one is the X-Men Galaxy V1. It is my main, it's not magnetic. I don't really compete in Megaminx anymore, so I just had to move on and focus on things that I knew that were better for me. With that being said, this was a great puzzle, so if anyone wants to get it, then it's definitely worth it. And this next one is my Moyu Skewb. I was never really into Skewb, and that's why this is pretty much my main. I'm sure I may buy a better one so I can get better times when the time comes, but until then this is kind of sitting in my collection as an old puzzle. Up next is the Moyu Pyraminx. Not much to say. This is a horrible cube. It's too small for my hands. The corner pieces are hard to turn and they rest up very easy. This next one is the ShengShou Illusion Cube. Surprisingly, it turns better than a Moyu Pyraminx. I don't really get why, it's just smoother corners and a smoother puzzle. And last is the X-Man Bell. This is my main for Pyraminx. It's super smooth and I never really needed another one. I haven't been that active with Pyraminx either, but this still is a great Pyraminx. So when I do compete again, this will be my main. And lastly, here are my final 4 WCA puzzles. This is the Mefferts gear ball. It's super fun. I found this at a Books A Million and I just love playing with it. Not much to say, it's super easy, so that's why it's probably not computable, but it was fun to have it. And these two are my mirror cubes. They're both ShengShou. This one is gold and this one was silver. But what I did was I took off all the silver stickers and then I polished it. So now it's just a clear black plastic mirror cube. And last but not least, this is a super fun one. I got this during Christmas. This is my ShengShou Megaminx 2x2. It's super quick to solve, it's super fun. I really like how they were able to make a 2x2 version of such a large puzzle. I'm surprised it even worked, but it's super fun. Alright, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. This was a super fun project and I hope that I'll do more like this in the future. I'm sure when time comes that my puzzle collection will expand as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!